Hey, there you guys are. Hey, I got a 2009 Ford Escape. Yep, and my Escape has a 3.0 V6 Durtech engine with 24 valves. That's a bulletproof engine right there, a pretty strong engine. Runs great. Runs great. But what was it, about 3 or 4 months ago? Nah, actually, I think it went on longer than that, like a year off and on. I get this pulsating. I mean, it was intermittent. It didn't always do it. Just it would get a little pulsating, like felt like I had low fuel pressure. I was starting to look into buying a new fuel pump because I don't have the numbers, but I'm pretty sure I got 126,000 miles on here now. And anyway, so I was starting to think maybe my fuel pump was starting to go bad, and I was going to get a pressure gauge and check into that. Then I started digging around, and I found out people are saying it could be a torque converter shudder with my transmission. I get the CF35 transmission. I don't know why I can't keep that transmission number right on top of my head, but for some reason I can't. I just got to look down a piece of paper anyway. Anyway, the CF35 transmission is part of a class action lawsuit. I'm pretty sure that's the one. It's got people on the edge of their seats wanting to get a class action. You don't get much money, not when them lawyers get their hands on it. Anyway, they get the majority of the money, and then they disperse a little bit out to everybody. But your portion is a lot lower than theirs. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to repair your car with what you get. But anyway, let's get past all that real quick. So I had the Shudder. First I thought it was stumbling. It had a little, that wasn't a hesitation, but you could feel this. It'd be like, it wasn't like a snake or nothing. It was, you could just feel it like that, and then it would clear out. But every time it would do it to me, I felt something wasn't right. So I didn't keep my foot in the gas. I'd back off my gas or accelerator. I'd back off just a little bit, and it would go away. So I'm thinking a lot of people out there might keep their foot in the gas, and that caused their transmission to have big problems because they were, well, it's trying to hunt or whatever it's trying to do right there, or the torque converter is trying to lock up. People were still giving it the gas, and I think that might have been really the demise of their problem, because it would get to the point where you're still trying to build up all that pressure to make things happen, and you're not because most people don't drive by the seat of their pants. They don't know what that is, and they just keep, okay, give it the gas, I'll go. Anyway, but I really think by me feeling that, and I back off, being a mechanic, and I was thinking I had a fuel pump issue at first, but too lazy to get to it and check it out and go up and hook up my pressure gauge and all that to the fuel rail. But anyway, because it's my car. That's messed up. A lot of mechanics that work on their stuff last. Work on everybody else's stuff, and mine's still good. It's doing this, but it's all right. I can keep driving. But a lot of us tend to do that. I'll probably get some people saying, "Oh, I'd never do that. I get mine fixed right away. I don't mess around. Oh, not me. I'm Mr. Perfect Mechanic." Anyway, It's like Ford Mecco, I think his name is. I remember watching him. He had me worried there for a while. I remember watching him tearing his whole air conditioner apart because some dehydrators, the AC, dehydrator, receiver dryer, was some of them were falling apart in the inside and they clogged up the rest of the system. He had me convinced that's what happened to mine. So anyway, I pressure check mine. I find mine's leading out by the condenser. I pull the condenser out. I change the condenser. I pull out my receiver dryer, put a new one in, change my expansion valve, pressured it up. I mean, put 1.5 pounds of Freon back in it, and it's great. Couldn't be happier. Then I decided, you know what? Let's check out that receiver dryer. So I got my, I think I used my, I used my Sawzall. I got it and I cut it all the way around top. Took off the lid. It's in there somewhere. But nothing out of there. Nice. I was happy to see that. Everything was still in a little container. Nothing was out. No desiccant, I think they call it, throughout my whole system, clogging everything. But I did when I did have that apart, I blew out the evap because I had put, I added some Freon here and there and it had oil in it, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I got to make sure, because this thing supposedly only holds 5.5 ounces of oil with the Freon. So I was like, did I get too much oil in there over time? Because I'd add this, what do you call it, AC Pro, whatever. It had oil in it, oil in with the refrigerant plus dye. And I think I did that 2 or 3 times before it finally bit the dust. Just the charge wouldn't last but a couple, maybe 5 or 6 hours. And driving down the highway, be gone. So I just quit messing with it. So anyway, I decided to blow mine out. I hooked my air compressor, my air compressor, and I blew out my evap. I'll tell you what, my evap had some oil in it. I'm sure I'm glad I did this. I blew out the evap as best I could without messing with taking it out of the car. And I blew that out. I blew out the lines going down. I didn't blow out the the compressor. And I'm getting off the subject what I was talking about. I was talking about transmission. But anyway, I got done with all that. I blew it all out. And I swear I must have got... the condenser's gone. I'm putting a new one in, right? Anyway, so with that said, I had a majority of my oil. There's probably some still in the compressor, but a majority, and the rest was in my evap. Plus, my lines had a bunch of oil. I swear I got because I haven't drained my old condenser. It had oil in the bottom. And I got over 6, and that wasn't including the compressor. So my system was definitely overcharged with oil. But anyway, so I got all that out, and then I put the amount of oil it was required that if I changed the, because you're only supposed to put 5.5 according to, what website was that? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Something like AC Cool. They sell the oil. Anyway, they got a chart with all the required oils and the quantities, and if you replace this, you put this much oil back in. And so I went with, okay, my lines I blew them all out. The evap's all done. Condenser's empty. I put the oil back in the condenser. And anyway, so when I was all done, I'm sure I'm about 5.5 ounces in there. Taking effect, I didn't take the compressor out. I didn't try to drain that, but I did more or less blow out everything else. And I'm glad I did. I got out mucky. It wasn't really that mucky. It was just, it wasn't mucky at all, really. It came out color oil. Anyway, so I wouldn't say it wasn't contaminated with metal or nothing like that. So no desiccant, no oil, nothing like that. But anyway, just get out of this real quick, because everybody's going to say, well, man, what are you talking about? Well, I thought this was about transmissions. And it's supposed to be about transmissions. Well, anyway, let's get back to that. Let's get back to it. Anyway, the transmission was doing the shuddering, like I was telling you. And I watched a few videos. People were talking about they're doing the Shudder Fixx. I was like, what the hell is Shudder Fixx? I've never heard of it. I swear, this is the first time I ever heard of this stuff. But anyway, I went and bought a 2-tube kit. All right, y'all see it? 2-tube kit right there at Amazon. Instant Shudder Fixx. That's exactly what it says. And this camera ain't that great to zoom in on that. But anyway, you can get it at Amazon. What I did with mine, because I wasn't in a hurry. I'm not a garage. I've seen a bunch of garages. They changed out because on these the 6F35 transmission, see that number? I don't know. I cannot lock it in. On that transmission, you can't change the filter without splitting the case apart. Good design. Whatever. And the other thing is, 120, no, it only had 120. I know it only had 120 when I did this. But I was all under the school, a train of thought there that once you got past 100-some thousand miles, you don't really want to mess with transmission fluid, because it can cause slippage and all that other stuff. Though I did change it in a Cougar one time. Didn't cause any problems. Never slipped or nothing. I think that had 135,000 miles. But they wanted it done. I had to do it. Anyway. What else? Well, anyway. So what I did on mine is I dumped the fluid. And it's got a plug on the bottom. And on the escape. On mine anyway. And I got luckily on this I got a dipstick. And I got a filler tube. Now, my daughter's car, she got the same transmission, supposedly, the 6F35. And she just got a drain plug on the bottom, like mine. And then she got a filler plug on the side. But she does have a vent cap on the top. So a lot of people fill it through the vent cap. And then you fill it up. Once it gets warm enough, you take out that plug, and it should just come out that plug right there, and then that's good. You don't want to overfill it. You don't want to underfill it. And that's how you do it. You got to level your car and all this other crap. So I'm looking forward to that, because I will be changing that earlier than this. But anyway, just get back to it real quick. So I drain it, and then I put exactly the amount back in that I took out. So I drain it. No, not mine. I didn't do it that way. Oh my God. I drained it, and then I filled it back up to the line with the thing, which ended up being like 4.5, almost 5 quarts of oil. I mean, Tranny fluid. And I did use the Ford Mercron LV, I believe it is. I mean, it's in the garage. I got another bottle in there, because I did mine twice. I dumped it, filled it back up. We went for a long ride, me and my wife, and brought it back. Then the next day we took it for a long ride, brought it back, and then I dumped it again. And I filled it back up. And that's the time I put the Shudder Fixx in. I didn't do mine 3 times, but I did take it for a ride each time. So that way I could get all the fluid from everything mixed together and get rid of anything. So mine wasn't, I mean, it dark like they talk about, but it didn't have a burnt smell. Mine did not have a burnt smell. It smelled like tranny fluid. So I didn't get the burnt smell, but I did notice after the first change, it did have the shudder, but not as bad. And then the second time, I can't really attest because I put this in right away. Then we went, me and my wife, we drove that through, and I've gone to Pennsylvania and back and a few other places. Shifts like a champ. That shudder's gone. And knock on some fake wood grain somewhere. I ain't got none in this car. But anyway, I wanted to attest to this stuff. I think it really, I think it worked. I think it really helped. And I got this extra tube here. Because what I was thinking about doing, what I'm planning on doing, I put, since I changed this tranny fluid, I think I'm at the 5,000 mile mark, 4,000. Oh, anyway, in January, I always change the oil. I rotate the tires, and this time I'm gonna go ahead and change this tranny fluid, and I'm gonna put it up, and then I'll put this back in there on this last fill up, and then after I make it through a year, then I'll quit putting it. I think I'll quit putting this in, and I'll just go to my the Mercron LV and start changing it once a year with the engine oil, since I can't change the filter or nothing. And I want to what I want to do is keep that filter from turning into a big old pile of muck. So, I mean, so I can't get to it. So, anyway, that's my spew. And since I was talking about Ford Escapes, I guess I got into the AC system a little bit. But the condenser, it leaked just like all the other Ford Escapes out there. Well, this year, I guess this is a second gen before they went to that box, the smaller one. Anyway, I'll say it that way. I don't want to offend nobody. Well, you had the first gen, then you had the second gen, and this is 2009. I know they had a 2008. It was just a year. I mean, it was the same generation as this, and it was a the same generation as this one, the 2008. But there's slight differences because the 9 through 12 are more alike than the 8. The 8's kind of like a mix between the, I think 2000. What year did they come up with the 2001, 2000 Escape, the first gen? I'm not sure, but I know the 8 looks like it's like a variant between the two. And I know it's more set up to be like the newer ones, the 9 through 12, than it was the 01 through 7. But I think the transmission and a few other things. I think it had an older V6. Like I think it had the same V6, but it didn't look the same. Something different about it. And then the layout and underneath the hood wasn't the same either. I haven't had a problem with on this one, since we're talking about this, with the left half shaft leaking at the transmission. I mean, you guys want to leave comments on that if you've had that problem. Mine doesn't leak. I don't feel any play over there. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my VIN number or this transmission, or I don't know what it is. But this got a lot of highway miles. I mean, it's got some city miles, but don't get me wrong. But I'd say out of the 120, it's probably less than 40, 50, somewhere in there of city, and the rest is highway. And even though this is a 09, it's 2024, I don't drive that far. And we got other cars, but yeah, we don't. I don't crank the miles like I used to. But anyway, this is my shout out for instant shutter fix. Y'all having that problem? Give it a try. It does feel like a low pressure fuel pump. It feels just about the same way to me. I was going the old school. That's what I was thinking at first. I just happened upon a video where somebody was talking about this and the shudder coming from the torque converter. I was like, maybe. And I went out and rode it a couple times, watched their stuff, rode it some more, started thinking about it, comparing the two, and I said, I didn't have the crazy transmission and RPM stuff or nothing like that. But I told you, when I felt that, I was out of it. I took my paw off my foot. I got paws like Buddy here. Hey, Buddy, come here, bud, come on. See, he helps me work on the car. This guy right here. He was telling me. He goes, Dad, do you think you should do that? Can you I don't know what that is. Somebody just sent me a message. But he likes to work on the car. He'll get underneath there and lay with me. He don't really turn a wrench or nothing, but he's support. That's Buddy the support dog right there. He supports the everyday mechanic in his yard. See, I'm an old helicopter mechanic, jet mechanic, Navy. Had diesel training before I went in the military. And been working on cars since I was 12, 14 years old. Yep. Maybe even further back than that. Oh, toward the television part back in the day. I think that was my first repair. I don't know if that went too good. Anyway, y'all have a good day. But that's all about the those there right there. See, I got a road down there. The CF35 transmission Ford. Yep. I hope I don't have any issues with that. And I mean, she's just like a champ now. I mean, you can go right down the road. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy yourself. If you're having that issue, try the Shudder fix. I'm trying to tell you, try it. Ding her out. Have a good one.